Hi guys, welcome back to World Tanks. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Tier 8 Ferdinand unversatile tank destroyer assault gun. It's more of an assault gun that's should be used to as an artillery piece or something. So the first thing that's the massive letdown of this vehicle is the size, the mobility, and the armor and the guns until you get the best gun. Until you get the best gun, this thing has absolutely nothing going for it other than a bit of DPM with the smaller guns. If you can get smaller tier 7 and tier 6 tanks to drive out in front of you and shoot at your upper plate or your gun mantlet or something. This is the gun I'm talking about here, the 105 millimeter. This gun should be the Tiger 2's top gun with 320 pen and 360 alpha damage. That would be a saving grace for this vehicle, but they have burdened this thing with this pile of crap with the L52 instead of the L68. The top gun is worth talking about. It has 390 alpha damage, even though in the one game I'm going to show it virtually rolled under 390 every single time. It has 250 average pen, which is okay. It's not outstanding for a tier 9 or a tier 8 TD. Like, there's not anything great about it. It's got a better reload, about 9.5 seconds. The traverse speed on the gun isn't really worth talking about because the gun arc is so small that it really is irrelevant how fast it turns. You have to turn the hull for almost everything. The gun depression isn't too bad. That is not one of the worst things about this vehicle. The aim time is good at 2 seconds, and the dispersion with this gun I found was actually it hit more shots than in most of the other games I played with the same kind of accuracy, which was like 0.32, 0.34 on the previous two guns. So the dispersion on this one seemed to work in the game that I did play, and because most of my games I played with this were with the horrific 320 alpha gun, which is awful. So survivability is awful with this vehicle. You got hit points, but you got no armor. The armor is only good against tier 7s and tier 6s. It's worthless except for the gun mantlet. There are so many weak spots, with not including all the size, the sides, the huge overall size of the vehicle, the rear. This isn't that strong either. And you got the cheeks, which aren't strong. You get the lower plate, so it's just riddled with weak spots all over the bloody thing. And it should be D-tiered to tier 7, and a Jagdtiger prototype be put in at tier 8. That is how I would fix the Ferdinand problem in this game. So the way I've set it up is I took a repair kit, I put chocolate on it, because I didn't found it got set on fire too bad. I put this on it to try and get the repair speed and the suspension stronger, because if you get tracked, you're even more screwed in this thing. And then I put vents in the firepower slot to try and make it just a little bit more livable, since it was such a horrific experience trying to unlock that tier 10 gun. To unlock that tier 10 gun, I severely, like, if you have a dollar to spend, get a premium day, use those boosts, put on like a 300% boost thing, and just try and boost through it as fast as you can and boost your best games, because it is an absolute mind-destroying experience to try and grind out the Top Gun on this thing. It is a horrible gameplay experience in 2021. This is the tank that Wargaming has left behind. Comparing this tank to the SU-130PM, to Scorpion Gs, to virtually every other tank destroyer at Tier 8, this experience is so awful that, like, I mean, you're comparing it against tanks that have much better camo ratings, tanks that have turrets, way smaller targets, and and they can shoot through the front of this thing, no problem. The armor on this thing is irrelevant. So, and the concealment values are bad. The spotting is whatever, because half the time I just treat this thing like a heavy tank and just drive at people. So I've taken camouflage, which was, I mean, not really in hindsight a great choice with this. So everything else has ended up being repairs or safe stowage. I would take off-road driving to make it next on the driver a little bit better. So there's a lot of different ways you could set this thing up. This is just how I have it set up, and I'm going to jump into the gameplay, and you can see what it's like with the awful gun, and then with the better gun. Okay, so for this first little clip, I'm going to keep it light. This is the funniest thing that happened to me while playing the Ferdinand. I got a blind shot on this guy. Poor little Hellcat. So this pissed me off the most because I told this Renegade that I was going to help him, and watch how much I don't help him. Shot goes high, hits him in the turret, and I'm going to reload in about 6 seconds. It's a saving grace of this tank. I'm going to fire. Shot goes high, misses the cupola. I had the full back of the turret. The shot would have went where I asked it to. It would have been great. Shoot again. Shot goes low, hits the tracks, no damage. I'm going to try and hit him again. Aimed at the rear deck, the shot goes low, no, hits him in the tracks, no damage. And I'm going to try and shoot him again. Shot goes low, hits him in the tracks, no damage. At this point, I was about losing my frickin' mind. I was like, one of these shots has to go in. So I'm going to hit him once, I'm going to hit him twice, and then I'm going to get lit up because I've been sitting on this ridge trying to hit this guy for probably about, 4 minutes here now. And it was just so frustrating seeing all of those shots miss with a .32 accuracy gun. So aggravating. So just because you have 3.32 accuracy doesn't mean you're going to hit stuff at even 200 meters with the Ferdinand. from some of my sniping experiences, it just felt so awful to play sometimes. So I just have resorted to playing with this tank with this gun to kind of getting a lot closer to people. So I'm going to drive up here. Again, I'm going to shoot the Scorpion and do a 0 damage critical. It's a whole parade of 0 damage criticals with this vehicle. So he pulls out a little bit, enough of his hull that I can overmatch and shoot right through the front of that vehicle, which is good. So I kind of dive my nose in there and hide the front of my tank from him. And I'm just hoping that this guy decides to just pull out a few more times and see if he'll oblige. And so I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait a little bit more. And eventually he will decide that it's worth his time to pull out to try and shoot me. Wait for it. He decides I'm going to do some sweet ass side scraping, and it doesn't pay off for him. So I don't recommend side scraping in the Scorpion G. Side scraping in this thing doesn't work too well either because it's got those cheek weak spots on the front of the hull that it shares with the Tiger P. So not necessarily a good thing to do. So I start reversing out to see if I can get some shots at this heavy tank that's over here. And then I see, oh, okay, there's some kind of Pershing lookalike that's popped up over here. So I try and hit him in that little nub on the top part of his upper plate, but 200 pen, not enough to go through there, evidently. Even shooting down on him, I was actually rather surprised that this tank was that bad. So we managed to get a shot into this Tiger II, and this is where the DPM shines a little bit with this gun. I'm able to put 2 shots into him, gonna hide my tank a little bit, and then someone else finishes him off. So that's a good result there. And I'm gonna try and hit this guy, and I rushed the shot because I thought he was gonna pull back, which he did, and I missed. But this shot is fully aimed. Now watch this. And the shot goes into the side of the shipping container. And by the time I'm reloaded again, he is gone and I can't shoot him. So this is the kind of thing I'm talking about with about a 300 meter shot there. What is it, like 1 or 2 or 3, about 3 grid squares, I guess. So it's extremely frustrating. And now he's on the other side of those containers by the time I got another shot at him. So I pull forward again and I decide, okay, maybe I got to try and help this guy. And then he's coming around this way, and I'm going to try and hit him, and where's my shot going to go? Oh, it's going to go down and to the right underneath his tank. Oh, boy. So this is a damaging shot, which I didn't expect to actually hit and damage. So it's managed to hit that shot, but I'm getting shot by this other guy over here, and then that shot manages to do no damage, and I'm going to drive forward, and I'm getting fleeced by this tank. And the only reason I'm still alive is because I've got a lot of hit points, because as you can see, the armor's not holding up hardly at all. I think I bounced like 1 shot so far. So I'm just going to protect myself here against the T28, the E5, whatever it's called. And I'm going to see if I can spot this guy over here again. Maybe put a shot into him. I don't know why he doesn't want to push me. I mean, I'm a Ferdinand that does 300 damage. I don't know if he could tell at this point or not. But I'm going to hit him on going through the side of the safe security door here. I'm going to hit him again here. So this is where the DPM of the crappier gun is nice. I got a couple shots in. When he decided to poke out broadside like an idiot, I was able to hurt him a couple times. And now I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to see if I can get a shot into this guy. I'm going to pull forward. Actually, no, I'm going to reverse, and The horrible gun arc of the tank. Not going to fully aim, and yeah, sure enough, goes in. I don't even know where it hit him, but it went in. So stuff like that happens with this tank to me all the time. It's just really, it's a very aggravating vehicle. So I could see that the Scorpion was starting to look like he wanted to come over through this way, so I just waited for him. And I don't know if he just thought he was gonna go dark and then just sneak his way through here, but I shoot him in the face, so that turned out pretty good. And then the other guy, he got tired of living too, so he just drove into a crossfire between all of our vehicles, basically. And I just waited for him and then popped him. So I eventually did take him out, and now I could see on the map that this LTTB is going to do a drive-by on one of our tanks, and he was going to come through this door. And when he came through, I was kind of like wanting to back up and start moving as he was coming through, so I kind of jerked this shot. I should have hit him when he was coming through here, and I'm going to screw it up right about there. I don't know what I was doing with my hand. I just kind of twitched it. I still hit him, but I didn't do any damage. So I'm going to aim forward there, boom, hit him in the tracks, slowed down pretty good. I'm still reversing, trying not to die to this guy, and one of my friends comes over and gives me a little bit of help, and I did say thanks to him. I smash him, shoot him a couple times, makes her feel good. So I'm going to say thanks to this guy. And yeah, so it was not too terrible, like around 3,000 damage-ish. Managed to get fairly high as far as damage on the team. And that's what serves for a first-class mastery badge with this vehicle. And I still haven't got a mastery in it because I struggle. I struggle in this tank, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not very good in the Ferdinand. I don't do well sitting in the back of maps sniping at people. I don't really like playing that way. And for some people, that they love doing that, and that's their way of blowing off steam, or maybe they like clicking people or whatever. It's just not how I like to play. So you can see there, the shot on the IS-3 goes really, really high. I had his pike nose, same with this shot. Like I said, that one actually hits him and goes in. So we're going to try and hit the super Pershing, lead him a little bit. And honestly, he was moving so fast, I'm not going to be able to hit weak spots at that point. And then he gets in behind some dead tank, and he's really hard to pick up. So I'm going to put a shot into this guy here. I think it's a T69. And I'm just going to try and keep the gun firing as much as I can. And hit that guy, do no damage. And see what else. And now we've pretty much got no eyes over here. And Super Pershing dives down behind something I can't see. And IS-3 something I can't see, and I'm just trying to pick up where guys are here, and I just really can't tell. And by the time he's going down that way, and I still can't see anything, and oh, I can see the Super Pershing now, so I'm going to try and hit him in the weak spot there. That shot misses at what, like 200 meters, great .32 accuracy. Try and shoot at his machine gun port, and so far, it hasn't been a masterclass in accuracy and being able to shoot at guys that aren't moving. So here I've got a Barask giving me a hand, and I'm going to try and hit the T69, so that ended up working out pretty good. And I'm going to back up and try and shoot him. I don't really have to aim too hard on this guy. His armor's not very good, but I'm just going to try and aim for his hull and his lower plate. And then he does manage to pound one through the front of my tank with an AP round with 170 pen, so it really doesn't take a lot. Even if you angle this tank really hard, half the time it doesn't really want to bounce anything. So now I'm in pretty big trouble, so I don't have a whole lot of help over here. So I try and hit this guy and track him, and he just birds his kit and gets over on the top of the tracks anyway. Not that there was anyone there to shoot him, because everyone on my team was on the other flank, really just not pushing hard. So I kind of resigned myself to just, I'm going to die, and then I'm going to try and just do as much damage as I can. So I got a Super Pershing shooting at me, got a Progetto, I got an Emil, and then I'm going to have an S1, and I'm going to have a Borsig pretty soon. So I just decided I'm going to sit here, I'm going to get up beside this rock, and I'm just going to make it so no one can really try and get my back. And I'm going to try and creep up here to see if I can shoot the side of this guy, and not happening. Because if I drove out there, I'd just give up my side to the Borsig to the left. So that didn't happen. And now I'm kind of beached myself on the side of the hill. So I'm just trying to rock back and forth here to see what there is to shoot. And managed not to take damage on that one, which was pretty lucky. And yeah, people just get bored of wanting to shoot at me and they want to shoot at something else. So the Borsky comes around, takes a really bad shot, and ends up shooting the bush and the side of the wall. So you can see how bad the mobility is here. So I'm able to chase him around the corner, but then I take damage for doing it. And then the Progetto comes up and does 500 damage to me. So then I shoot the Borsky again, and he fluffs that shot into. I think he's just auto aiming, to be honest, because I mean, if he would have just shot anywhere near this vehicle, he would have done damage to me. Things weren't looking as bad now, but I put a shot into the S1, and Borsky's coming back, so I'm like trying to angle my vehicle. This is where I kind of make a mistake. If I would have just stayed straight to him, it probably would have been better, but now I'm tracked in this position, and I can't shoot the S1 where I want to shoot him, because my gun was stuck over there. I couldn't move it over, which explains the bad gun arc, and the gun depression didn't help. And then the S1 shoots me in the face. So that was my highest damage game, was like 3,700 damage, and it was pretty painful, to be honest. I made some mistakes. There was a lot of shots where I couldn't tell where guys were going, and I didn't want to get spotted, so I kept shooting through the bush instead of wanting to go through the bush. And I mean, I racked up almost 4K damage, but it still wasn't a win. Yeah, so a big surprise to no one, ended up being a defeat. So this is my first game I'm going to show, and the only game I played with the Ferdinand on, what was it, Redshire, with the big gun. And I'm going to take this pretty much tank destroyer alpha sort of position where I can shoot into the heavy line and try and support those guys, as they're going to run into quite a lot of medium tanks and heavy tanks coming through here at tiers 8. There are some tier 6s and stuff as well, and there's a type. So here we go. We're going to shoot and roll, like, what is it, low to mid 400s. And because my preview is blurry, I'm not going to be able to fully tell what all these different shots are, but from reviewing this video and looking back at it, I don't know if I had too many shots over 500. I'm not going to complain about it and whine about it too much, but the RNG that I had in this game was not favorable. It was not Russian RNG, it was German RNG. It was Merkel RNG. So, I am just waiting here, seeing if this guy's going to poke his face around, and I'm going to zoom in, like times 25 zoom, and boom, another low roll. Awesome. 471. I can actually read that one. And the unfortunate thing for us is a lot of our heavies over here were tier 6 heavies, and they were having to fight against like higher tier medium tanks like types and panthers and stuff, which could pen them pretty much everywhere all the time. So it was kind of crappy for them. But I still think this is probably the best position I could have taken, other than the one that's a little bit more on the 9 line instead of the 8 line. So I'm just wishing that these guys would pull out a little bit more, and so I can shoot them. And this guy went dark, and he snuck his way across there, and no one spotted him. I didn't have him in enough view range to pick him up. And when he resurfaces, the type is on the other side of the rock over here, and I am going to try and hit him through the front of his turret with my 250 pen and see if it'll do it. And I hit him, and I break something on the commander's vision slot or whatever, but I don't manage to do any damage to him. And he's just pounding damage into our Japanese tiger over here, and he's not looking too good. And I'd never really taken this position before, so I'm still learning, and I didn't know the best way to shoot through the side of that blimp. And there was a hole to the left of the blimp that I didn't pick up on until later on in the game. And I was like, oh, I can actually shoot through there, because there was so much smoke pouring through there. And because I play with all the graphics like fully on, except for Grass and Sniper, which I did try and play a few games like that, but it put me at such a massive disadvantage to all the people that don't. And yeah, 278. Never mind. Not a high roll. So yeah, everyone on the front line is now dead. We've just got a KV2 and something else back here. So that guy's not coming forward, and the Panther is just playing patty cake behind the blimp, and pretty much just going to stay in this position. This is going to be the scintillating gameplay of the tank destroyer. And our Artie is trying to shoot at the Panther, and he does a little bit of damage there. And now their T29 is like, oh yeah, it's awesome over here. And another low roll, 441, and he pulls forward, and now he's gonna pick up a death here pretty soon. He's gonna get some hammer time, and boom, end up taking him out there. Another low roll, and he might not have had more hit points to roll on, but anyway, this is where I could have shot the Panther. He was actually in that gap, I think, and I screwed it up. And I think I hit the KV, but I think it bounced off of him on that shot. So KV1S is pop his face out there in a little while, and if I would have moved my thing to the left a little bit, I would have realized, oh, I can actually shoot through that gap. And I probably should have shot like probably about 5 increments a little bit more to the left. And KV1S didn't learn. He wanted to get damage again and kill our KV2. So I'm gonna pound some damage into him. And another low roll is like what, 478 or 479. So it's just like a low rolling princess, this vehicle. I don't think one of my shots was over 500 on this thing. So now I'm thinking, okay, KV1S or this guy below, the Boogie. I don't know if there's a special way to pronounce what that vehicle is. I don't have much experience. That thing popped up when I was stopped playing. So accuracy wise, I'm not going to crap on the 0.31 accuracy. It has managed to hold up as far as mostly hitting things that, broad spectrum kind of. I can pen through most of the sides of, or the hulls of most of those vehicles. So the T29, KV1S, the Type, I can pound through all those tanks pretty easily. Same thing with this Panther. So now that I've figured out this hole, I've got it figured out. He pulls forward, and then shot goes way far to the right, unfortunately. So I'm going to spend another 10 seconds of my life reloading for this Panther, waiting for him to drive through here. And finally the shot goes where I'm aiming it, and I managed to take him out. So I don't know, I think it killed like 3 or 4 tanks, and done around 3,000 damage. I think this game I ended up with around 3,000 something. So I can tell this Nashorn is going to drive out, so I'm just going to pre-aim for him and then pound a shot into the back of that guy. So yeah, the Ferdinand's definitely a tank that's been left behind, unfortunately. There's not much you can do about it. The gun's okay, but when you get the top gun, but other than that, it's pretty awful to play. I don't recommend it, and if you can skip through this somehow, if you got the money to do it, you're a pay to play player, then I would pay to get through this tank. It might have been good like 7 years ago, but it's not good now. All right, guys, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys again in the next video. Bye-bye.